Good morning. This is our Domain 4, Unit 4, the Ancient Roman Civilization. And we're going to be starting our very first chapter, Chapter 1. Let's review a little bit about our map. It's so important to know where these stories, this information is taking place. If we didn't have this type of geography, these stories couldn't take place here. So we're going to be talking about this area specifically. This is Italy. It is a country that's a peninsula. Peninsula is an area of land that's covered by water on three sides. It's not an island. If it were covered with water right across here, it would be an island, but it's a peninsula. Almost all of Italy is a peninsula. And Rome is about halfway down on this peninsula on the western side, sort of near the Mediterranean Sea. You have learned about ancient Greece, you have learned about ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia, this Bosporus Strait that goes from the Aegean Sea into the Black Sea. You've learned about the Strait of Gibraltar, which is the little waterway that divides the Atlantic Ocean from the Mediterranean Sea. It's not that this water can't flow back and forth. We name the water from where it is, not what kind of water it is. This is all salt water. So, and we will be talking about areas in what's now Europe. We call this Spain, France, Germany, and here's England. That's not what they called these areas of land 2,000 years ago. So we will hear some different names to name these. But let's get started with an introduction of Rome. I'm going to scroll back up through here. It's going to take me a little while because these are long chapters. Ooh, squeaky mouse. This is an actual photograph of Rome today or recently. But this is not a modern Roman building. This is an ancient Roman building. So what is Rome? Rome is the capital city of Italy, which is a country in Europe. This aerial, which means from the air, scene shows what you might see if you visit Rome today. It is a beautiful, vibrant city full of fascinating things to see and do. If something is vibrant, it's lively and bright. Here's something that thousands of people travel to Rome to see every year. Do you know what it is? It's called the Colosseum. And when you look at this picture, you might ask yourself another question. What was the city of Rome like a long time ago? After all, this building does not appear to be new or in very good condition. And that's because it's almost 2,000 years old. Here's another view. This famous building is just one of countless remains from the ancient Roman civilization. The Colosseum was basically a big sports stadium for Romans. However, instead of watching football or baseball, ancient Roman fans came to the Colosseum to watch combat sports, often involving people fighting each other or animals, sometimes even to their death. The fact that their sports were so bloody and deadly might lead you to think that Romans were violent people and they were in many ways. The Romans had some of the most powerful armies in all of history. But as you can see from this beauty of Roman architecture in this photograph, the ancient Romans were also incredibly creative people. The Romans were the first to widely use arches. An arch is this curved top in a doorway or window in architecture. The arch was very first used by the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians, and then the Romans improved it. They allow an opening of the structure, such as a window or a doorway, to be much wider because of the curved wedges of stone often offer more support than a flat piece of stone would. So you can make a window or a door wider. Do you see these people? These are people down here. This is a huge opening. And you wouldn't have been able to make an opening if you wanted a square window. The opening would not be able to be as wide. And you wouldn't be able to make buildings as tall if these openings were rectangular or squared off. The buildings and the rocks just would not be able to hold the weight. But these arches, because of how they distribute the weight of the building material above it, are able to carry much more weight. You can make the buildings taller and you can make the openings wider. You're going to learn more about arches because it is a contribution that the ancient Romans make and we still use today. We're going to learn more about Roman history, Roman government, Roman art, Roman religion, and more. All of those things have been passed down to our generations today, even from 2,000 years ago. This should look a little familiar. Beginning with the city of Rome, the Romans built a civilization that controlled most of present-day Western Europe, as well as large parts of present-day Asia and Africa. In yellow, this map shows the large area the Romans controlled at the very height of their empire. You see this boot-shaped country near the middle? That country is what we now call Italy, and Italy is called a peninsula because it is surrounded on three sides by water. This is where the ancient Roman civilization began, and from there it spread to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. It took many years to build this vast empire, and that's why the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, has come to refer to creating something that is large or complicated that takes a lot of time and dedication. As their empire spread, the Romans also spread their culture or their way of life, including their laws, art, architectural influences, that's how they build things, language, and knowledge. Although most ancient Roman buildings are now in ruins or are completely gone, Roman culture changed the world in ways that we continue to experience today. Before we go further into ancient Roman history, let's travel outside the city of Rome a little bit into the surrounding countryside. Italy is surrounded on nearly all sides by the famous sparkling blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The city of Rome is situated near the Mediterranean coast. Far outside the city limits of Rome and away from the coast, the lush Italian countryside is home to rolling wheat fields, groves of olive trees, and vineyards where grapes are grown to make vinegar and wine. Like many lands close to the Mediterranean, the climate in Rome is fairly warm and sunny most of the year. Add it all together, the blue waters, the beautiful city, the fertile countryside, and you can see that Italy is really a pretty nice place to call home. The Romans were not the first people to think the area known as present-day Italy was a good place to live. In fact, the ancient Greeks had settled in parts of southern Italy. So Greeks had moved into what we consider Roman territory now. Greeks had moved into Italy. Starting around 700 BC, a civilization called the Etruscans moved into central Italy. So this is an Etruscan settlement. Nobody is sure where the Etruscans came from exactly, but we know that they started building towns a couple of hundred years before the city of Rome existed. So before there were Romans, there were Etruscans. Before there were Etruscans, there were Greeks. This picture shows the ruins of a walled Etruscan city. Why do you think they would build this city in this particular spot? It looks like it would be hard to get there, doesn't it? And that's the point. Despite its beauty and that the land and nearby sea had to offer, Italy and basically everywhere else around the Mediterranean region at the time could be a dangerous place. The Etruscans weren't the only people living in this region. There was always a chance that another group of people would come along and decide that they wanted to call the area of present day Italy their home, or steal all the resources that they could from the people who already lived there. In those times, it was smart to build your city on a steep hill, surrounded by high walls, for protection from invaders. This walkway was built many, many years later to make it easy for modern people to get there and visit this ancient city. The Etruscans and the Greeks were only two of several groups that settled on the peninsula of Italy. Many of these cultures would essentially be mixed together to create Roman culture. Like other people during that time period, the Etruscans were fond of stone sculptures. In some areas, the hills and mountains have large sections of hard white stone called marble. Ancient Etruscans carved gorgeous sculptures from this marble more than 2,000 years ago. Etruscan art and architecture, such as paintings, sculptures, and building designs, helped to shape Roman art and architecture and building designs and sculptures. These items are in a museum today, and like countless other Roman artifacts in museum collections all over the world, an artifact is an object that was created by a person who lived long, long ago. An artifact is like a door to the past. Tools, weapons, jewelry, artwork, pottery, and household items such as dishes or pots are all examples of artifacts that provide clues about people and allow us to see into the past. All of these items were touched by people, changed by people, and we can therefore call them an artifact. A mountain is not an artifact because it is not man-made. In order to be an artifact, it must be man-made. Artifacts, along with ruins like the Colosseum, roads, and bridges, teach us the way that ancient Romans lived, worked, played, and fought. Some of these remains are very easy to see, like the ruins that dot the Italian landscape. Others have been buried for many years and continue to be discovered during archaeological digs. Archaeologists are puzzle solvers. They find little clues hidden in the ground, like a broken shard of pottery, an arrowhead, or a few beads, and bit by bit they piece together a story about the people who created those things. This photograph provides an example of one of those puzzle pieces, an early Roman mosaic. Can you say mosaic? Mosaic. A mosaic is a piece of art made of hundreds and sometimes thousands of colorful little stones carefully arranged to create a design. Sometimes a mosaic also includes small glass or baked clay pieces called ceramics. Wealthy Romans could afford to have mosaics in their homes to decorate their walls and their floors. Artifacts, such as mosaics, teach us many things about ancient people. Look at this mosaic. You can see that the ancient Romans were very artistic and creative. And you can also see what a Roman from that time actually looked like. The amazing thing about the artifacts of the Roman Empire is that a lot of them have not actually been discovered in the city of Rome itself. In fact, many artifacts that have not been discovered in present-day Italy at all. This mosaic was created by Romans, but it was found in a present-day nation of Turkey that straddles Europe and Asia. It was found hundreds of miles from Rome, but it is still a Roman mosaic. Well, how is that possible? Well, as you have heard, the city of Rome is in the current capital of Italy. But during the height of the Roman Empire, about 2,000 years ago, it was the capital of a very large portion of the world. The Romans had powerful armies, and over the course of hundreds of years, they set out to conquer and rule every bit of land that they could find. The Roman Empire extended from present-day Italy in every direction, north through present-day France, all the way to Britain, south to North Africa, west all the way to Spain, and east across Asia through present-day country of Turkey, all the way to the Middle East. One thing that allowed the Romans to spread so far and wide was its system of roads. In many conquered areas, the Romans built paved roads for their armies and to make traveling and trading easier. Let me say that again. One of the most important things that allowed Rome to spread so far and wide was its system of roads. In many conquered areas, the Romans built paved roads for their armies and to make traveling and trading easier. These roads were able to last many years because they were made with concrete, a hard, strong material made by mixing water with cement, sand, and pebbles and allowing the mixture to harden. The Romans were the first to invent this particular concrete mixture that is still used in modern times. Rome became known for its many well-built roads, which created a network along which some of Europe's finest cities and richest lands developed. Some of these concrete roads still exist today, as does the saying born of this time, all roads lead to Rome. So, Roman art with mosaics, Roman roads with construction using cement and concrete. And here is a fresco, another type of artwork. Romans were also known for frescoes. They created colorful pictures by painting in wet plaster on a wall or ceiling. Frescoes had to be painted quickly because they were done on wet plaster when it was first put up. This faded fresco was uncovered in the city of Pompeii in Italy many, many years after the city had been destroyed. In about AD 79, Anno Domini, year of our Lord, or you could say the Common Era, CE, Mount Vesuvius, which is a mountain, a volcano, suddenly erupted, spewing forth fire, poisonous gases, and giant clouds of ash that fell on the nearby city of Pompeii, burying everything in the volcano's wake. For more than 1,500 years, the town remained hidden until the late 1500s. Some men found a few ruins of marble and frescoes like this one while digging a canal. As more and more ruins had been unearthed, archaeologists have been able to piece together the story of this lost town and its people. Archaeologists suspect that there are still many ruins and artifacts waiting to be discovered in Pompeii and across all the surrounding areas where the Romans once ruled and lived. You'll continue to learn about the ancient Romans and how their culture, inventions, and many contributions are still part of our lives today. Let's go over a few questions. In the present day country, in this vibrant city of Rome, where is it located? What country? That's right, it's Italy. And Italy is called a peninsula. What is a peninsula and why is Italy called one? Italy is called a peninsula because it is surrounded on three sides by water. On which continent is Rome, Italy, located? It is located on the continent of Europe. Which ocean separates the continent of Europe from the United States? The Atlantic Ocean. Which sea is ancient Rome and modern Italy surrounded by? The Mediterranean Sea. You heard that one group that settled on the peninsula of Italy before the Roman civilization began was known as the Etruscans. What was another group? Well, the people that lived here, the Greeks. They came to southern Italy, which makes sense. It's pretty close across this part of the Mediterranean Sea. So the ancient Greeks and the Etruscans lived there before the Romans. What does BC mean? BC means before Christ. What does BCE mean? Before the Common Era. Those are used to describe the time when the ancient Roman civilization began. And what does AD or CE mean? AD means Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. And CE means in the Common Era, which describes the period of time after the birth of Jesus and the time in which we live today. There is a network of roads. What invention helped to create a lasting network of Roman roads, some of which is still in existence today? Concrete is an invention that helped to create ancient Roman roads. Concrete is a mixture of water, cement, sand, and pebbles, which hardens into a lasting substance. The Romans created and used it like nobody had before them. Why was this such an important Roman contribution? Well, the invention of concrete made it possible to build many roads for people to travel in and out of Rome and for Rome to expand. Rome became known for its many roads, and concrete is still used today to build roads and buildings, etc. It was the first time it had been widely used anywhere in the whole world. What is an artifact? That's an artifact. These are artifacts. What is an artifact? Well, an artifact is an object that was created in the past by a person. A real human has to make it, touch it, form it, shape it, in order for something to be an artifact. A mosaic is an artifact. Tools, weapons, jewelry, artwork, pottery, ruins, buildings, old networks of roads, household items such as dishes and pottery are all artifacts. And where have artifacts from the Roman Empire been found? All over Europe, all of these expanded areas, all the way into Asia and into northern Africa. Roman artifacts have been found all over the area that has been shown in yellow because that is where the Roman Empire was. What do you call a person who uncovers artifacts and studies past human civilization? Well, you call that person an archaeologist. And what does the work of an archaeologist help us to understand about the cultures of the past? Well, archaeologists are sort of like puzzle putter-togethers. They show the ways that ancient people lived or worked, played and fought, how people created things. Okay. You heard about one Roman city in Italy where many artifacts have been found and continue to be found by archaeologists. This city was destroyed by a volcano and hidden for many, many years. Do you know the name of the city? That's right, it's Pompeii. And what was the name of that volcano that erupted? Mount Vesuvius, that's right. How do we know that a civilization existed in ancient Rome? Well, through the artifacts that have been found, buildings and ruins that are still there today, how would you describe this ancient civilization from what you have known and heard so far? You'll be able to describe it in greater detail later, but you can describe it right now. You learned some things about this ancient civilization. They were powerful. Ancient Romans were creative in their art. They were creative in architecture, ambitious. They wanted to have more and more land for more and more of their empire, more and more people to pay them more and more taxes. They were vibrant, busy. So, how would you answer the question of today's read aloud? What is Rome? Rome is many things. Rome is a present day city in the country of Italy. Rome was the place where the ancient Roman civilization began. Rome became an empire that covered parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. And Rome represents a group of people with a certain culture and many contributions that have been passed down. So you could say, what is Rome? 4 different things. A present-day city, an ancient city where Rome began, an ancient empire that covered many parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and a group of people with certain culture and many contributions that have been passed down. We'll talk more tomorrow. It's not letting me. It's not letting me stop, which means it probably wasn't even recording in the first place.